you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You may dial in toll-free to bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And if you want to help support Free Talk Live, then one of the ways you can do that is by getting interactive on our forum, which is part of the larger Shire forum. You can go to forum.freetalklive.com. That'll take you right to the Free Talk Live section of the Shire Forum. There's actually other areas of the Shire Forum that you might find interesting, like the cryptocurrency sections, where people are discussing right now this big news today that the SegWit 2x fork that was expected to come next week and possibly shake Bitcoin to its supposed core, possibly destroy some of the value that it has built up over the last several weeks. That is not going to happen. And that is one of the discussions being had right now over on the Free Talk Live forums, in the larger Shire forum. So go to forum.freetalklive.com. You can get signed up there. It's free for anybody that wants to get involved. Due to some internet issues, I hadn't had access to our call screening software for the last hour, so apologies to, I think there was at least one gentleman who was on hold there and never got his call taken. That is my fault. So feel free, call back in if you get the chance. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. We're going to go to Ashley in Iowa. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ashley.
Hello.
Hi there. You're on the air.
Hi. I just have, I guess I don't really have any questions, but
okay.
I do want to make a statement.
That's fine.
Make your statement, Ashley.
Let's hear it. Are you ready for this? Because you're on the radio.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of like, I don't have my, okay. In 2013, 2012, and I lost track of time here, so I can't tell exactly. I want to say 2012. Around Christmas Day, I had a very strong voice that was not
what
internal
voice?
but external.
Strong?
A strong voice.
Strong voice,
like,
okay.
Or song voice, or whatever you want to say. And he said, do you believe in magic?
Who
so
said
when
this?
He said that, it was, well, I'll tell you in just a second.
Okay.
He said, do you believe in magic? It was God's voice, but this time it was coming at me in a different way than usual.
Where were you at this time?
I was in Omaha, Nebraska.
Are you in your house? Are you at work? Where physically?
Well, both. I was in my house and I was at work.
And God was talking to you throughout the whole day, kind of thing?
Well, throughout my whole life.
Through your whole life. Okay. So what was it that was said in this particular case? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is kind of where it switched up. This is a switching point. He said, do you believe in magic? I said, yes, which is weird because usually I would say no, because this is, I read the Bible, it says be careful of all this kind of things at the end time. But I knew this person or this spirit or it being of the one that I've always been with. But it was so. Anyways, I was like yes, and he said, look out the window and tell me what you see. And I looked out the window, and I seen a beam of light coming out of the southern sky, and it was like there was no spaceship, there was no planet, there was nothing above it. It was just a beam of light, and it was like rainbow colors, if that makes sense. Now,
sounds pretty awesome. Was it a double rainbow?
Well, I don't know. Well, I suppose yes.
Anyway, go on. Okay, so pretty rainbow. It was during the daytime, I take it?
It was at night.
Nighttime? Okay.
Nighttime
rainbow colors coming out of a light spot in the sky at night, basically?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes, like a beam, yeah.
Yeah, and beaming down from the sky, straight down?
No, it was at an angle, like
Okay.
it was from like up in the south, and it was angled.
Did the beam move around?
No.
Okay.
It was solid.
Got it.
Solid
Okay,
angular
now-
rainbow beam.
Got it.
Okay, I'm down.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I want you. I'm kind of. Yeah. I need you guys' help here. Now in the light there was what looked like a being, but it had obviously no skin. It did have.
How
you know,
close
it
was this to you? Like if you're in your house or wherever, how far away are we talking about? Is this being? Is it like
I
right
would
up?
say, like it looked like it was about 2 blocks up from me.
Two blocks,
That's
okay.
what it looked like.
Okay. Now, was it like was the beam coming down like right in your front yard, or was it the beam coming down like a ways away, a couple streets over in the neighborhood, or something like that?
It was almost like two worlds kind of came into one, because it was like me trying to.
So you weren't in
pretty,
reality
like,
at this
whatever
point.
was-
You were hallucinating. You were not seeing what was actually like
Did
in
this
front of you.
being have any particular features you noticed? Was he
That's what I
carrying
want to get to. It's
anything?
really, really crazy.
Okay.
It's not crazy, but
Okay.
that the thing is, okay, so it looked like a human, like, body without. Okay, the best way to explain it is a hologram, like a hologram.
So he was
But he
maybe
had a long
little
head.
transparent.
It was slightly elongated head,
Uh-huh.
and he started to moonwalk, like going facing the north, and but he was walking south. And I said,
Are you saying
I
Michael
said to the
Jackson
voice-
has come back from
I just
the
wait, I
alien
said to the voice-
spaceships?
No, this is.
Listen, I said to the voice, I said, "Is
Wasn't
that
he
Michael
dead by then?
Jackson?" And he said, "I am Michael Jackson."
See, I called it.
There we go.
Well, I guess you really have to.
Okay.
The only way to really know if it's Michael Jackson.
Hold on.
If
See, I talked over you when you were saying that part. So tell me how you knew it was Michael Jackson again, because I was predicting that this was Michael Jackson while you were explaining this. So what happened now? Started moonwalking, and what was the rest?
I looked toward the voice, or the voice that was speaking, and I said, "Is that Michael Jackson?" And he said, "I am Michael Jackson."
What was the voice
So I'm like,
saying?
you're literally like everywhere at once.
If this is Michael Jackson's second coming, keep him away from the little kids.
So hold on. Let me see if I can. Wait, I want to make sure I can follow this. You talk with God throughout your life. You heard this voice that you recognized as God telling you, "Do you believe in magic?" Inviting you to look out the window, where you then saw Michael Jackson coming down from a rainbow, like a multi-rainbow ray of light coming from the sky. Then Michael Jackson spoke to you. Was that the voice that you'd been talking to throughout your entire life, or was that a different voice?
Is not. It doesn't have an Adam's apple, if you will. So I can't.
No. I'm not saying it spoke to you like a human voice would speak to you, but you were hearing a voice that invited you to look outside, and then you said Michael Jackson spoke to you, saying it was Michael Jackson.
Look outside at my rainbow.
Right, yes, it was the same. It was the same.
The
It
same
was
voice. So
same.
what
my
you're saying?
rainbow. I'm moonwalking on my rainbow.
So you're saying that
Right,
Michael
aw,
Jackson
I love him so much.
was God to you, is what you're saying.
Well, then I invested the Project Bluebeam, where they said, well, this was going to happen, because there was a lot of stuff going on at that time, and
Now, Project Bluebeam, that's some sort of conspiracy theory or whatever. What was that one? I forget which.
Really.
I forget which
So
one
I
that
said,
was.
Why
Was
would
it the
my
spaceship
God
thing?
appear to me to be Michael Jackson? I said, I never listened to his music.
So
I
what
never
happened then? Did
was a
he,
big fan.
invite you to the to his playland or whatever it is he has?
9 months later, the virgin birth happened again.
He said, right.
Wouldn't that be
actually,
ironic?
A lot of things happened that night. He asked if he could resurrect himself inside of me. And the whole time I'm like, yeah.
You
go
called
there,
it.
everything. And I'm going with it because, and then now I reflect on it. I'm like, wow, I can't even believe.
Did
I
Michael
wasn't
Jackson
finished
actually
when I was
knock
in
you
my
up?
body.
Do you believe you were
You, of
knocked
course,
up?
agreed to this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
This
for
is the
knowing-
best
that's
call.
really-
I'm so glad that that you called this week, Ashley. So you had did you have Michael Jackson's baby?
I had Michael Jackson.
So
it
your
was-
son.
In like a biblical sense, you mean?
Well, see, now we're skipping ahead because there was a certain process.
Yeah, we got to
that I
skip
had to go through.
ahead here because we're short on
Is
time.
he taking dancing classes now?
Okay.
Hello?
Um,
There was a question there for you. Did you hear that?
no, there's a question.
Is he taking singing and dancing classes now?
Is he the baby?
Your baby, yeah.
Well, you
he's
had
like
Michael
4
Jackson.
years
He's
old
like-
now, right? 3 or 4 years old? 5 years old?
He should be a
4 years?
prodigal
I guess
baby.
I'm not really sure because the baby was invisible and it went up into outer space in a fucking.
Oh my goodness! I don't know what you just said there, but
we.
we gotta let you go. It sounded like she got a little excited. Might have said the F word there on the radio, but man, that was the best. I don't know if that was a crank or if she actually believed what she was saying, but it was a refreshing change from Sarah and Ricky.
All I can tell you is somebody
you.
out there somewhere is a smooth criminal.
Thank you.
Like, I'm going to try this with the light and everything.
Just got to work on your moonwalk.
I am not much of a moonwalker.
There's
that's
more coming
for
up
sure.
here. 855 450 free like freedom. 855 450 3733. Wow. All right, then. Hour number 2 is on the way. You can take control of the airwaves. It's Free Talk Live.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, November 8th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.03 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,347. Antiwar.com reports Saudi warplanes targeted a residential area in Yemen's Hajj province on Tuesday, leveling a large building that served as housing for an extended family, killing all within. At least 30 people were killed in the attacks, overwhelmingly women and children. The attacks took place against a village not far from the Saudi border and left a number of other civilians wounded. It is not clear why the attacks were carried out in the first place, and Saudi officials have not commented on the matter. Saudi airstrikes have been killing dozens of civilians on a regular basis since early 2015, leading to a massive death toll. This has fueled international criticism of Saudi war crimes and both the U.S. and British governments for selling the Saudis such arms that they've used so recklessly. U.S. efforts to compel an end to its involvement in the war have failed for now, but there is a growing campaign in Britain to stop the weapons sales. Historically, Saudi officials have bought a lot of influence in both the U.S. and Britain, ironically with arms sales, but the war crimes are costing them a lot of credibility.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports Danica Rome won Virginia's 13th District House of Delegates seat on Tuesday night, becoming the first openly transgender official to be elected in the United States. Rome, a Democrat, defeated Republican incumbent Bob Marshall, who proposed a bill restricting which bathrooms transgender individuals can use and attempted to block Virginia from adding sex and gender discrimination to anti-discrimination laws. Rome discussed her gender identity when asked throughout the campaign and responded to flyers released by Marshall's campaign that referred to her using male pronouns. She said when Delegate Marshall realized that he cannot win on public policy issues on traffic, on jobs, schools, and healthcare, he resorted to trash. She ran on a platform focused on local issues and criticized Marshall for ignoring such issues in favor of advancing a conservative agenda. Marshall refused to debate Rome and often declined interviews with media.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Reuters reports a peace activist who laughed at then U.S. Senator Jeff Sessions during his confirmation hearings to become U.S. Attorney General will no longer be prosecuted on charges of disrupting a session of Congress and demonstrating at the Capitol. The U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia filed court papers on Monday notifying a judge her office was dropping its case against Desiree Ferruz, a children's librarian. Ferruz had faced up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine if she were convicted on both charges at trial. She belongs to Code Pink, an anti-war group that often stages protests against politicians. The group accused federal prosecutors of overreach and wasting money on the case. Ferruz laughed during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing in January after one lawmaker asserted Sessions treated all Americans equally. It was at the confirmation hearing for Sessions, who was then a Republican senator from Alabama and was later confirmed to become U.S. Attorney General. Ferruz shouted, "This man is evil, pure evil," as police led her away. A jury found her guilty in May of disrupting a session of Congress and demonstrating on Capitol grounds. But a judge for the District of Columbia Superior Court overturned the guilty verdict in July and ordered a new trial. Chief Judge Robert Moran found it unclear whether Ferruz was convicted for laughter or for speaking out as she was removed. A second trial had been scheduled for November 13th, but the judge canceled it after prosecutors had dropped the case. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A dead iPod is remembered as expensive. It's the Onion Radio News. This is Doyle Redland reporting. Despite heroic efforts at resuscitation, a third-generation 30-gigabyte iPod, serial number AP356372, was pronounced dead early this morning at the age of 2. The iPod's closest companion, Sarah Zartman, says she'll never forget the great music it used to play, nor will she forget the nearly $500 price tag.
I'll remember those 3,500 songs as long as I live. That iPod was convenient, portable, and really pricey.
Zartman added that had she known the iPod's lithium-ion battery would have such a short lifespan, she might have spent more time listening to it. AP356372 is survived by a BlackBerry. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll free to join us here. Our number It's 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Mike,
and Mark.
We're going to go to your phone calls, your thoughts. We can talk more about the, I would say, epic day for Bitcoin. Price rising as high as nearly $7,900 US, then falling about $1,000 almost, and then recovering to around 74, 73, somewhere
in the
around that
mid-range
time.
there.
When we started the show here tonight. I haven't checked in the last hour, but it's probably going to be a roller coaster, because, people are waking up across the world and they're finding out the news that SegWit 2X is done for. We talked a lot in detail about what that meant in the last hour. We can continue with that discussion.
I wish you'd stop on this whole train of people in Asia sleeping. Everyone knows that people in Asia don't sleep.
Because they are constantly working at a sweatshop or something like that? What's the reason for that?
Just had to go and make it racist, didn't you?
That has nothing to do with racism.
That's a matter of slave labor.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts. Dan is in Nebraska. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Dan.
Hey, Ian. Hey, Mark. Hey, Mike.
What's on your mind?
So I just heard that fantastic caller that just called in, and I knew I had to call in following that because, as you know, I've never seen anything like it in Omaha, and that's where I am at. And what I kind of wanted to say was, it seems funny when you listen to that call, but is that really that much stupider, for lack of a better word, than anything any actual religious people believe?
Well, I mean, I'm religious, and you can believe whatever you want about whether it's
religious. People believe it happened to someone else.
Hey, she's a Mexican American, I'm sure, so do not judge her.
I mean, there are definitely some pretty ridiculous stories out there in the world religions, if that's what you're referring to.
Well, there are people who I know are listening who thought, that phone call was so silly when they heard it. But I'm sure that they believe things that are just as silly, and they go somewhere every Sunday and, repeat these silly things that are literally just as silly as this caller to themselves. So I just kind of wanted
there are stories that they were told when they were children that they believed. But, yeah, a lot of them have just about the same level of unbelievability.
A magic guy in the sky.
To them. That much is definitely true. Dan, was there more you wanted to share tonight?
No, I just wanted to make that point and, hopefully get some other callers on. Maybe they'll try to defend why their silliness is actually less silly than that silliness.
Okay. Well, thanks for the call tonight, Dan. The toll-free number here is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I think a lot of, those old stories in religions, many of them existed to try to impart a certain lesson on the people who existed at that time. My personal belief as one of the ministers in the Shire Free Church, which is a interfaith group, an interfaith peace church, is that there have always been, God, if you will, or the universe, however you want to call it, is always speaking, and that many of these people like Jesus or Muhammad and or Buddha, these are people who put those words into words that other people could at least try to understand, to try to impart certain messages to the world. And so at the time, there were certain things that were right for the times, for the people of those times and what they were likely to believe. But now when we look back on them, they don't make much sense because we know about science or we know about, whatever it is that can easily negate those stories. But that doesn't mean that religion is all full of garbage. All of these religions, in my opinion, have some very, very valuable things to teach the world. And again, that message from God, if you will, changes over time as we change our understanding of the world. The message is pretty consistent, but the way humans interpret it and restate it is where it usually loses, I think, its meaning, if that makes any sense.
People like epic stories, right? I mean, go to the movies and see if people don't like it. Nobody walks away believing everything in the movie is true.
Well, a lot of people believe everything in the books are true.
I was going to ask if the guy in the rainbow was Thor on the Rainbow Bridge going back to
could have just as easily been Heimdall.
Yeah.
So, I've just lost my train of thought.
Silly religions.
Yeah. So, I mean, somebody tells a story, and that story is intended to impart some information in some way or another. Jesus was full of these stories that he told. We don't believe those stories as they're true. We just believe.
Some do.
Many. No, they don't.
And aren't there people who believe the word of the Bible literally?
Yes, but those stories that Jesus told were, and I can't remember the term. Allegories. Yeah, allegories. Mm-hmm. And they weren't intended.
I'm talking about the Bible itself.
I understand. What I'm trying to tell you is that the Bible contains within it stories intended to impart a message.
Yes.
And somehow we got some of those stories that you believe, like, Samson slaying 1,000 Philistines with a jawbone of an ass, right? That might be not true. I mean, if so, I need to go get me a jawbone of an ass. Forget an AR-15.
There are biblical
I can wipe out a town with this thing.
Ass bone control regulation.
That's right.
Right, but there are biblical literalists, Mark, who literally believe the Bible word for word. Now, maybe most people look at that and say, well, that's that means something. It's an allegory,
it's a metaphor,
or whatever. But there are people who are literalists, aren't there not?
Ian,
certain fundamentalists.
Jesus told allegories. Are you aware of this?
Yes, but that was Jesus.
I understand that. I'm talking about the people who are misinterpreting or understanding it differently than maybe it was originally intended. Are you saying those people don't exist? Because I'm pretty sure we've talked about these literalists before.
The big confusion tends to be over stuff in the Old Testament, which is treated as history, quote unquote,
right?
Rather than maybe man's early mythology trying to interpret natural events or their own history in magical ways. But I'll note that this is not the first time that Michael Jackson has been considered a bit of a deity.
Really?
His family was very religious, as I recall, and when before he kind of messed up his own reputation with these dealings with underage people, there was this story going around with the what was his family's religion, were they Jehovah's Witnesses?
Oh, really?
And there were a lot of young Jehovah's Witnesses who believed that Michael Jackson was the incarnation of the Archangel Michael.
Amazing. I had not heard that one before.
I remember hearing this many years ago.
If you want to share your thoughts with us, you're welcome to 855-450 free like freedom. Let's go to Crash Gordon on the line via Skype. Crash, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Well, just real quick, I wanted to say before I found out that the SegWit thing went on hold, I went out and bought some Bitcoin at a local vending machine today.
Oh, great.
And I put $20 in the machine. It hasn't confirmed yet. It's been about 2 hours.
Oh, no.
But it was $5.65 in fees on the blockchain to make the transaction.
Outrageous. Why would anybody want to pay fees like that? It just doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Well, hopefully I bought it at the dip and not at the peak, but we'll find out.
Well, I can tell you right now, because the fees are so crazy with Bitcoin, if you don't put a competitive fee in there and pay even higher fees than everybody else is paying, your fee or your transaction could get stuck.
I would imagine a $5 fee should be sufficient.
It should push it through.
Yeah,
it should push it through. But Mark, you sent a transaction earlier this morning. You said you sent it with a kind of normal fee in blockchain.info because blockchain usually gives you normal and priority.
I didn't send it out of blockchain.info.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you told me that you had.
No, I sent it out of the normal fee, but I didn't send it out of blockchain.info.
Okay, so what was the fee that you sent it with?
I don't know.
Okay.
You should be able to check that. I have no idea.
I guess you'll have to pull that up later. I apologize. So you claim it was a normal fee, but you don't know what that means. You don't know what a normal fee is.
Deviate from when I sent the transaction.
Right.
It always defaults to normal.
From a core wallet, from like a full node?
I sent it. No, I didn't.
Okay. From what wallet was it sent?
I think it was sent from a Koinomi wallet.
Koinomi. Okay. Yeah, I would think they would be able to calculate that.
You're right. It was sent from a blockchain wallet. My mistake. I've sent some transactions today.
Yeah, I thought what you
told
me
Bitcoin, people.
I thought what you told me was that you used blockchain and you sent it normal.
Yes.
And it's been stuck all day long. So the fees have just been ridiculous on all this. Crash, if you've got more you want to share, hang on. We can continue because we definitely have not talked about everything we can talk about with the SegWit 2X cancellation today, meaning the big to-do about this fork supposedly coming next week. Well, now it's supposed to be canceled unless someone can somehow resurrect it. I don't know if that's possible. It might be. It's Free Talk Live.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash and help us build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org. That's dash.org.
Fireplaces and wood stoves are wonderful to have and provide low-cost heating, but they've got their drawbacks too. One of them is the increased likelihood that your home will burn. My primary advice is to never let fire into your home and make sure that you have an extinguisher on every floor and the garage, and that everyone knows how to use it. But if you love your wood stove, don't want to give it up, make sure that you keep things away from it and have a professional clean it every year. The pro will make sure the chimney is properly functioning also. Make sure to dispose of your ashes outside too. I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free to join us here. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Tonight it's Ian,
Mike,
and Mark.
We're talking about Bitcoin. Man, what surprising and pleasant news happened today. The death of SegWit2x, which I'm happy about because I really did not want to see more forking of the Bitcoin network. We already saw it happen once earlier this year in August when Bitcoin historically forked into Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, or you could call the original Bitcoin Bitcoin Core if you want. But now there's only 2, whereas there could have been like 3 or 4. And so hopefully this will stop the madness. for a while. It's not going to stop the argument about which Bitcoin is the real Bitcoin or which one should be the real Bitcoin and so on and so forth, and people are still going to have opinions about that. You're certainly welcome to share your thoughts here with us tonight. Also, there are alternatives in the market to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not necessarily going to be number one forever. Maybe something else will rise up and replace it someday. Maybe it'll be Dash. You can join Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform that's designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy, fees are low, and transactions are quick and can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar with Dash. It's decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network, so join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today and find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. So go to Dash.org and find out why. As we go back to Crash Gordon, he's with us on Skype. Go ahead, Crash.
Hey, the actual reason I called was I find myself in kind of a libertarian dilemma.
All right.
And I thought I'd see if people wanted to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, let's hear it.
A few months ago, my neighbors sold their house, and the new people who moved in are nice people. We get along with them pretty well. But the husband and his father, who's a frequent visitor, both smoke cigars. And I'm talking about the green telephone pole style cigars, these monster stinky things. And I don't like the smell, but I can tolerate it. My wife has asthma. When these guys smoke, and they only smoke in the backyard, when they smoke these cigars, the wind blows the smoke into our yard. She has to come in the house, take her rescue inhaler, and just stay inside with the windows closed.
Damn.
So how do I deal with this? I mean, I can't tell the guys, you can't smoke on your own property. It's their property. They can't control which way the wind blows the smoke. So what do we do with this?
This smoke is what's called a negative externality in our libertarian economics. And it's pollution, and there is they are causing a measurable harm because of her health issues. So whether you can say amicably, she has asthma, please don't smoke in certain times when is outdoors or something like that. Have you tried to reach some sort of amicable discussion about the issue with your neighbor?
No, I haven't talked to him about it at all because I'm really conflicted on not just how to approach it, but whether to approach it. I mean, I don't know that I really have the right to tell this guy, his wife already told him he can't smoke in the house,
right.
So he's got to go in the backyard.
Yeah.
Now the neighbor's trying to tell him, well, you can't smoke in the backyard either. If we're, if we just want to sit outside and eat a hot dog or do some yard work or something.
How often does this happen that the guy's out there like that?
Oh, he's out, probably a couple times a day.
He's smoking a big giant cigars a couple times a day?
That's
Well, I don't think he smokes the whole thing at once. I think he lights it up and smokes a little bit, and then he puts it out and goes inside and comes back. I don't know.
Well, I agree with Mike that, a conversation might iron this thing out to where he'll agree to be out, smoking at certain times, and she doesn't have to be out during those times, and vice versa. I mean, that's certainly a possibility. But also, I do question, the idea of, well, how much damage are we really talking about here? A mild inconvenience a couple of times a day, to where she's
taking a rescue inhaler.
Yeah, if this is something that where if she couldn't get a hold of a rescue inhaler and you're not there to get it for her and she goes into a seizure, this could be a life-threatening situation.
It sure could. There's no doubt about it. But it seems to me like, what level of control should you really have over what your neighbor can do? I mean, should the neighbor also be prohibited from planting plants in the backyard that also upset, the scent, maybe allergies or something like that?
Poison ivy
from a certain plant.
These are the kinds of issues that I'm dealing with. She's allergic to goldenrod too, and a lot of people use goldenrod as a decorative flower. I don't have any right to tell somebody they can't plant a flower in their backyard.
Right. What if she's got a peanut allergy and the people are eating peanuts next door and that's flaring up?
I'm an ex-smoker and I'm not one of those self-righteous ex-smokers.
Yeah.
So I fully understand the guy wants to go light up. He should be able to light up. And he bought this house. It's his property. He should be able to light up. But, we should be able to breathe, too. So I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know what angle I want to take to approach it when I talk to him. So
I would take the angle of, hey, man, I'm an ex-smoker, and I understand just everything you just said. I don't think that I should be able to impose my way on you, but I'm wondering if there's an agreement we can come to because my wife is ill.
Right. So some of the thoughts I've had while we've been talking about this is what's the location of wherever he's smoking? Is it possible to, for him to move that location to something that's, has less proximity to your side of the fence?
It's not. We're backyard neighbors, backyard to backyard.
Backyard to backyard. So
his backyard, they've got a gazebo back there with a nice table in it and a little water feature. It's a place made to sit down and relax.
Yeah, and that's why he enjoys smoking it there. There are also, I know there are ashtrays that suck up the smoke and have these sort of filters in them.
Ooh, yeah. There you go, technology.
Yeah. Ozonators.
So if you were willing to buy one of those ashtrays for him, maybe that would smooth the deal over a little bit.
What can I do to, sort of like, because this way you can bring up the subject. Hey, how can you enjoy your cigar and we get less smoke over here? Would sort of be the question. And then that way you can ease into, my wife's smelling your cigars and there's a rescue inhaler involved and, it's not so great, without sounding like the guy who's, the one who's kicking him while he's down. He can't smoke in the house. Now he can't smoke out of the house, those kind of things. It's possible that between the two of you could come up with some ideas. Perhaps he could smoke in the front yard. I don't know.
Get him a hookah.
Yeah. And then he has the little ashtray, and then maybe that'll do the job. I don't know. Those are the best ideas I've got.
Yeah, that's probably the best idea I've heard. I don't know if there's something like that would work outdoors, but maybe I can look into it.
If he just sets the cigar when he's not smoking into the ashtray, that'll take care of some.
Yeah. Well, I'll look into that. I'll see what it costs for something like that.
Okay. Excellent. Good luck, and let us know how it goes. Crash, thanks for the call tonight. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Of course, you can bring up what you want. More on the epic Bitcoin news today. And you can tell us how you feel about the death of SegWit2X. It's Free Talk Live.
This just in. Before your doctor gives you another antibiotic prescription that you don't want, get this free report, The Miracle of Garlic, your first home medicine. This free report is filled with easy kitchen remedies for common colds, flus, sore throats, ear infections, and more. Plus, learn to boost your immunity before you get sick. Go now to gcnwellness.com. Just like it sounds, gcnwellness.com to get your free report, The Miracle of Garlic. Click gcnwellness.com.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA pack technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free and bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and the Skype username is LRN.FM, so feel free to join us in any way that suits you. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Mike,
and Mark.
And, of course, you can bring up anything you want. We're talking in detail, sort of off and on, about the SegWit 2X of Bitcoin. It has been canceled. The big plan to fork Bitcoin again in the next about a week from now, I guess, or what would have been a week from now, has been canceled. We can talk more about that and what it means coming up here. You can bring up whatever is on your mind. And also, again, don't forget our Skype username is LRN.FM. Plus, do want to let you know about HostGator. You need to get some web hosting taken care of. Well, we can get you 50% off. That's 50% off of the already great prices over at HostGator.com/FTL. That's FTL, like Free Talk Live. So go there. You can find out that they make it super easy to host your own website. They got simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over the phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive and user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation and the simplicity of use into your hands. So they've got a 99.99% uptime rating, and you don't have to worry about outages. To get the special offer of 50% off for Free Talk Live listeners like you, just visit HostGator.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. Incredible news today with the death of SegWit 2X. This was the plan by what was supposed to be a supermajority of the mining power in the Bitcoin world, and dozens of some of the most influential Bitcoin companies out there, including Coinbase or BitPay, Blockchain.info, some of these companies that have collectively millions, I think, of Bitcoin wallets that are being hosted on their systems.
I'm wondering at what the repercussions will be between all these companies who have probably put a lot of investment into preparing for this fork, and now it's been aborted. You know, who pays for that investment?
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they thought this was coming, and so you're right. They were probably working, day and night to prepare themselves, because what happens when these these forks have occurred, when Bitcoin Cash happened, for instance, not everybody was ready. They weren't all prepared to, implement Bitcoin Cash the next day. Some people were, and, they got more business out of it. So, for instance, the Koinomi wallet had implemented Bitcoin Cash capability basically at launch, whereas Jax, who was a sponsor of ours at the time, they kept promising it. I don't think they've yet implemented Bitcoin Cash, have they?
Who's that?
Jax.
I heard that they were supposed to have that done. Let me check.
Well, there's been a whole lot of we've been supposed to been having to do this.
Agreed.
And, here we are. It was August 1st when the Bitcoin Cash split happened. It is now early November, so, we're a solid quarter of a year since that. So Koinomi got it done, and they had it done day number 1. And you could take your 12 words from Jax, you could import those into your Koinomi wallet, because, again, there's the backup phrase that Bitcoin wallets have to help you not lose your, like if you lose your phone, as long as you have these backup words written down and kept in a safe place, you can take those words and you can re-enter them into a different device and have access to your Bitcoin again. So you could take those 12 words from Jax that you might have written down, import them into Koinomi, and then there was like a special advanced thing you had to do with this thing called a derivation path. So there was a blog post that you had to follow at Koinomi's blog to make sure you got it right. But as soon as you got their, if you followed their simple instructions, there you had it. Your Bitcoin Cash would have been broken out instantaneously for you. Super easy, in that particular case. In certain other cases, it's not so easy to get a hold of your Bitcoin Cash. If you had a Bitcoin full node, for instance, then you have this thing called a wallet.dat file, and you have to extract your private keys from that, and then you have to import those private keys into another thing. And so it's like there's some hoop jumping depending on the type of wallet that you had if you want to get your hands on the Bitcoin Cash. But at this point, it's worth it to do that.
And according to their Twitter feed, yes, Bitcoin Cash has some level of availability. You can at least claim your Bitcoin Cash. They're
talking about Bitcoin Gold or Bitcoin Cash here?
Bitcoin Cash.
Well, yeah, of course you can claim your Bitcoin Cash. You can claim and trade and do everything.
I'm talking about that in Jax.
Oh, in Jax. Oh, okay. So you can claim it, but then
I don't know, but anything.
Okay.
All I'm saying is that they've got a thing here suggesting that it's available. Now, when I open it up on mine, maybe mine did an update or whatever. I didn't see it on mine.
Well, anyway, as I was saying, some were quicker than others to get that done. Let's go to Kylan. He's in San Diego. Kylan, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey.
I know you guys are talking about Bitcoin, and I was actually listening to your guys' show. I think it's either last night or the night before, and you guys were talking about scaling and block sizes and the issues with fees with Bitcoin, right?
Oh yeah, there's still issues with fees with Bitcoin, by the way. Just this cancellation of SegWit 2x just means the fee situation goes on, and it's still going to be bad. But go ahead with what you were going to say.
Right, with Bitcoin, especially if you're using most wallets, it's going to be an issue. I just want to point out one detail, and that was that one of the problems that you have, one of the reasons why the fees are high with Bitcoin, obviously the block size, that is part of it. But also, in general, wallets are typically the ones who are able to decide what the fee is. A lot of wallets don't allow you to put in a custom fee. There are some that do. And so it's kind of this trade-off where the wallets, if they set the fee a little bit lower, then the transactions will go through. It'll take a lot longer time. That's a bad wallet experience. So the wallet developers don't want that experience for their users. So what they do is they tend to take something like the average. They have kind of these services that tell you what the average transaction fees are, and then they'll add something like 5% or 10% on top of it. So what you have is they keep on that increases the average, and it just keeps on moving it up. It's kind of a trade-off, right, between transaction times and fees. So I just wanted to just point that out. That is also one of the reasons that is causing. Obviously, the block size is another thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I just wanted to point that out.
You're saying that's aggravating or making worse the already bad what's called fee market. A little bit of a difference.
I think that's probably more a function of how the market is responding to with the collapse of the 2x. That perhaps the supply of blockchain capacity doesn't meet market demand, and
no, it definitely doesn't.
and
that's why we have the problem that we have. That's why we have a fee market where people are literally bidding each other up to pay the highest fee or to be in the higher tiers of paid fees in order to get their transaction process through. That's what has gotten us to this point, is this fee market, because Bitcoin's full of transactions and it's essentially broken.
Right. So why is it so great for 2x to have died? I mean,
because we have Bitcoin Cash and we don't need 3 or 4 different Bitcoins. If you want a Bitcoin that's got a large block size and low fees, we have it. It's called Bitcoin Cash and it has an 8 megabyte block size. So there's plenty of room there.
So you're saying everybody needs to go to Bitcoin Cash?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody needs to go to Bitcoin Cash. If you want to use a cryptocurrency that you can spend, Bitcoin, aka Bitcoin Core, that's not it. You can't spend Bitcoin Core in any meaningful fashion. I can't go down to the corner store and buy a soda off the shelf with Bitcoin Core because it's going to be a $5 fee on top of a $1 soda. That's insane.
Yep.
But if you want to be able to use cryptocurrency, as many of us do, like, that to us was the idea of what cryptocurrency was supposed to be. It was supposed to help destroy the old banking, old money system, which means it needs to get out into the streets. It needs to get into day-to-day transactions. So if you want to be able to do that, all I'm saying is you can't use Bitcoin. You can use Bitcoin Cash, you can use Dash, you can use all kinds of other things. But right now it seems like Bitcoin Cash and Dash are the two that are best positioned to actually be that day-to-day currency, that day-to-day crypto that many of us are really looking for. What do you think, Kylan? Sorry.
Right, yeah, and I think Bitcoin Core solution is going to be Lightning Network, which is obviously a very controversial feature, and it sounds like it's at least several months off, if not a year or more. So,
right, and isn't this Lightning Network thing? I don't know a whole lot about it. Isn't it basically some sort of proprietary solution that's being offered by some corporation called Blockstream? Is that true?
I don't know all of the details,
Yeah, me neither.
so I don't want to comment on that.
Yeah.
But thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks, Kylan. I guess we're going to learn more about that as time goes on. But, a year from now, what are the fees going to look like then? I mean, if they're $5 to $10, $5 right now,
everything will be fine.
Yeah, right.
Don't worry.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But did you know you can have tax-free access to your life insurance while you're still alive? You can use the life benefits of your life insurance to grow your money with certainty and guarantees. No stock market risk, no tax risk, and no penalties. Call Life Benefits if you'd like a free book about how this can be done. Call 702-660-7000. That's 702-660-7000.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free to join us right here and bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. We've been talking a lot about cryptocurrency tonight, specifically Bitcoin. The big news today that the SegWit 2X, this sort of much ballyhooed, big potential fork that could have really done damage to the price of Bitcoin and the acceptance of Bitcoin and people's faith, if you will, in the future of Bitcoin is gone. It's over. They canceled. They blinked. The SegWit 2X guys, they backed down earlier today with an announcement that first came out on an email of some sort. That I guess there's like an email list where some of the developer types hang out, and there was an announcement on in one of those places, which was ostensibly signed by a few different folks who were involved in this SegWit 2X plan. According to Cointelegraph.com, and they get the full statement here. They've taken out some excerpts. They claim they wanted to keep the community together and that they didn't believe that they had what it took to have enough consensus to move ahead with this particular fork. They say, quote, "It's unfortunately clear that we have not built sufficient consensus for a clean block size upgrade at this time. Continuing on the current path could divide the community and be a setback to Bitcoin's growth. This was never the goal for SegWit 2X. They go on to say that, quote, "As fees rise on the blockchain, we believe it will eventually become obvious that on-chain capacity increases are necessary. When that happens, we hope the community will come together and find a solution, possibly with a block size increase. Until then, we are suspending our plans for the upcoming 2 megabyte upgrade." So apparently, they're saying here that it doesn't seem like enough people agree with them, that a lot of people are totally fine with $3, $4, $5, $10, $20 fees in order to send Bitcoin around, and so they're bailing out on their plan. Now, while I'm glad to see this plan go, I'm not excited for the future of Bitcoin. I mean, the price shot up, by the way. As soon as this news came out, it was like shackles are off. We're not worried about the uncertainty of what's happening next week anymore, and the market shot up a few $100 within minutes.
But it's back to where it shot up from whence it shot up.
And then it actually crashed down nearly $1,000 from its peak of about $7,900 today, then crashed down to like $6,900 something, and then came back up to like what? Where are we right now? $7,500?
$7,392.
Yeah, so almost $7,400. So right about where it was.
It's lower now than it was when it took off.
But it's likely going to, if things continue as they were, it's going to keep going up because Bitcoin's got a lot of buzz around it. It is, the first mover.
I don't think most people even knew what was going on, and now that nothing's going to happen, they just don't.
They're going to wonder why it's $5 to send their Bitcoin transactions. And so Bitcoin's still broken.
But most people are not getting into Bitcoin to buy soda pops and
no, I understand that. They see it as an investment.
Sure, they see it as an investment, so they're not moving it around much.
No, that's probably true.
Or
but somebody's moving it somewhere because the Bitcoin network is full of transactions.
And there was a lot of migration out of altcoins and into Bitcoin in the run-up to this.
Because everybody thought they were going to get double Bitcoins when the Bitcoin forked. Now that fork's not going to happen, but regardless, there was still a lot of uncertainty around, well, is the price going to go up after the fork, or is the price going to go down? Because after the Bitcoin Cash fork in August, the very first one that happened, the price ultimately went up. It stayed steady and then went up. But I don't think that necessarily would have happened this time around because this SegWit 2x fork was going to be so contentious. There was likely going to be a protracted fight amongst the miners, and I'm so glad to see that it's not going to happen at this point. I think we're better off overall because having competition between two Bitcoins seems to be enough to me. I don't feel like, we need to have more. It's already confusing enough to try to explain to somebody, oh yeah, you should get into Bitcoin. But there's actually two Bitcoins. There's this one Bitcoin, which is the original Bitcoin, and it used to have cheap fees, but it doesn't have cheap fees anymore. And so you really kind of don't want to use that, but you might want to get into it as an investment. But if you want to actually use something, then you could use Bitcoin Cash or Dash or some of these other, competitors. It's become a very complex explanation, whereas back in the day, it was, hey, there's this cool thing called Bitcoin. Look, it's cheap and it's effective. Now, Bitcoin is not cheap, and it's not really that effective either, because if you don't pay a fee that is commensurate with what the sort of the median or above the median happens to be, then you're going to get stuck for some number of hours as far as your transaction is concerned. Mark's transaction from earlier this morning sent with a so-called normal fee, as of before the show tonight, when I checked on it last, was still stuck. So who knows how long that's going to take. Will Coley, who's one of our co-hosts here on Free Talk Live, he was sent some Bitcoin by somebody 4 or 5 days ago. And it was sent, admittedly, with a low fee, and it finally went through after several days of waiting. So there's no doubt that Bitcoin is effed up right now. And so that's sort of the bad side of, well, they're not going to increase the block size, so therefore Bitcoin continues to be full. The big claim is that this segregated witness is this solution, that it's going to somehow help Bitcoin scale to the market demand.
But has it been enough already? I mean, it clearly, the SegWit part of the fork has already happened.
That happened in August.
And so, we've had a few months, and it's not keeping up with the current demand, and so how can it scale?
Well, here's my question, because there's a gentleman who calls the show who's a big SegWit 1x advocate who says that the SegWit part of the Bitcoin blockchain is very, very empty. And that's because only about, 15% maximum? I haven't looked at the numbers. I knew it was at least 10% recently, but maybe 10 to 15% of the Bitcoins out there are now in SegWit addresses, or that 10% of the users or whatever had changed over.
This is a SegWit transaction right here, and it's jammed up.
It's jammed up. Okay,
you see that,
that's interesting.
You see that first number?
The number 3 starts. So the SegWit transactions. I don't know what's going on with that, but the claim was 70% empty. And so my answer was, well if that's true, then why are the fees?
Should do it, right?
Right. If it's so empty, then why are the fees so high?
If the fees are so high, then that should be driving miners into mining that part. And what's going on?
I think the miners are mining all of the above. I don't think it's one or the other. They're mining SegWit and old school together. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it's my understanding they don't choose whether they are mining SegWit or not. All the miners have to be SegWit compatible, and in that there's the old school blocks, block data with the legacy transactions, and then there's the new SegWit data, which supposedly is more efficient. But again, if it's so empty on the SegWit side, then why are the fees high? The fees are lower on SegWit, but only by about 25% every time I've checked. And the only way I can check is with the Trezor, which is a physical hardware wallet. They've implemented SegWit. I have asked around, and I have yet to find any other wallets except for now apparently I think Electrum, which is like a desktop kind of client. I believe I saw a headline recently that they've implemented SegWit, but a bunch of wallets haven't even implemented this thing yet.
I believe Exodus has also adopted.
Is that right?
Yep.
So it's very limited as far as what options you even have to use this SegWit thing.
So if you got a SegWit address in a wallet that hasn't implemented SegWit, would it then try to send it through the regular Bitcoin?
You wouldn't be able to get a SegWit address from a wallet that hasn't implemented SegWit.
Hold on. But you could get it. Okay, I'm talking about from your sending. So your friend has a SegWit wallet.
Yeah.
You don't.
You should be able to send to that.
Which mempool is it going to use?
I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
that's too technical for me. But all I know is right now it doesn't seem like SegWit has done much to lower fees. As I said, I've actually tested this, because in the Trezor hardware wallet, you can have the legacy address, so the original style with like the 1 in front of it, or the new SegWit address with the 3 in front of it. So I put the same amount of Bitcoin into each one of those wallets.
Yep.
And then I went to send this an amount of Bitcoin from each of those wallets, the same amount.
To the other one.
So it was the same size of transaction as far as data was concerned. And this was like maybe last week, so I don't know what it would be today if I tried it today. But last week, it was like $4 and something to send on the legacy, and it was $3 and something to send on the SegWit. I mean, it was less, but it wasn't anything to write home about. It wasn't anything to get excited about. I don't get excited about a $3 transaction fee that much more so than I would get excited by a $4 transaction fee. I think both of those are broken Bitcoin. That makes me not want to use Bitcoin. It makes me want to not tell people about Bitcoin. It makes me embarrassed for the people that I have told about Bitcoin and that I've brought into Bitcoin, who, mind you, are still happy about Bitcoin because the price has gone up over time, right? Like all these people who got into it.
If you're saving it as an investment, it's a great thing. But if you're trying to use it for business, I would think that if you want to get rid of these problems, you should be supporting the 2x.
You can't support 2x anymore. It's gone.
But this is the question is, you're celebrating that 2x died, but you're complaining about the very problems that 2x was supposed to solve.
I don't know if 2x would have solved those problems, number one. But number two, it doesn't matter because we have Bitcoin Cash, which is like Bitcoin 8x, because it has an 8 megabyte block size. So that's already been solved. Why did they need to do it again? They didn't. That's why they bailed out. More coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, November 8th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.03 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,347. Antiwar.com reports Saudi warplanes targeted a residential area in Yemen's Hajj province on Tuesday, leveling a large building that served as housing for an extended family, killing all within. At least 30 people were killed in the attacks, overwhelmingly women and children. The attacks took place against a village not far from the Saudi border and left a number of other civilians wounded. It is not clear why the attacks were carried out in the first place, and Saudi officials have not commented on the matter. Saudi airstrikes have been killing dozens of civilians on a regular basis since early 2015, leading to a massive death toll. This has fueled international criticism of Saudi war crimes and both the U.S. and British governments for selling the Saudis such arms that they've used so recklessly. U.S. efforts to compel an end to its involvement in the war have failed for now, but there is a growing campaign in Britain to stop the weapons sales. Historically, Saudi officials have bought a lot of influence in both the U.S. and Britain, ironically with arms sales, but the war crimes are costing them a lot of credibility.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports Danica Rome won Virginia's 13th District House of Delegates seat on Tuesday night, becoming the first openly transgender official to be elected in the United States. Rome, a Democrat, defeated Republican incumbent Bob Marshall, who proposed a bill restricting which bathrooms transgender individuals can use and attempted to block Virginia from adding sex and gender discrimination to anti-discrimination laws. Rome discussed her gender identity when asked throughout the campaign and responded to flyers released by Marshall's campaign that referred to her using male pronouns. She said when Delegate Marshall realized that he cannot win on public policy issues on traffic, on jobs, schools, and healthcare, he resorted to trash. She ran on a platform focused on local issues and criticized Marshall for ignoring such issues in favor of advancing a conservative agenda. Marshall refused to debate Rome and often declined interviews with media.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Reuters reports a peace activist who laughed at then U.S. Senator Jeff Sessions during his confirmation hearings to become U.S. Attorney General will no longer be prosecuted on charges of disrupting a session of Congress and demonstrating at the Capitol. The U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia filed court papers on Monday notifying a judge her office was dropping its case against Desiree Ferruz, a children's librarian. Ferruz had faced up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine if she were convicted on both charges at trial. She belongs to Code Pink, an anti-war group that often stages protests against politicians. The group accused federal prosecutors of overreach and wasting money on the case. Ferruz laughed during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing in January after one lawmaker asserted Sessions treated all Americans equally. It was at the confirmation hearing for Sessions, who was then a Republican senator from Alabama and was later confirmed to become U.S. Attorney General. Ferruz shouted, "This man is evil, pure evil," as police led her away. A jury found her guilty in May of disrupting a session of Congress and demonstrating on Capitol grounds. But a judge for the District of Columbia Superior Court overturned the guilty verdict in July and ordered a new trial. Chief Judge Robert Moran found it unclear whether Ferruz was convicted for laughter or for speaking out as she was removed. A second trial had been scheduled for November 13th, but the judge canceled it after prosecutors had dropped the case. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A dying Chevron executive is excited to one day become oil. A man wearing red glasses and pink pants is probably Dutch or something, and the report of a popular fish's death is starting to get around the tank.
This is the Onion Week in Review. The nation was once again wowed this week by the feats of very strong little boy Michael Sartinsky, who, after removing his t-shirt to better display his impressive physique, deadlifted an entire frozen turkey over his head and held it aloft for 3 full seconds. The latest demonstration of the pint-sized muscle man's almost inhuman abilities comes on the heels of multiple accomplishments involving incredible displays of speed, strength, and endurance. Over the past 4 months alone, Sartinsky cleared the 3-foot chasm between his brother's bed and his own, beat his fully grown Uncle Scott in a foot race, and threw a tennis ball clear onto the roof of his 2-story house.
Pound for pound, I honestly don't think there's a stronger boy on earth. Have you felt his muscles? They're like solid rocks.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free to bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's Ian,
Mike,
and Mark.
Of course, you can bring up anything that you want. We're launching into the third hour. In case you're just tuning in, you've missed a lot of discussion about the status of Bitcoin. What with SegWit 2x, this discussion we've had over the last few weeks and in depth within the last week, we really got in depth on what could possibly happen with the SegWit 2x fork that was scheduled for next week, where Bitcoin was going to potentially split into two halves that would then, well, halves isn't the right word, but two wholes that would be the same size at the beginning of the split, and then they'd be fighting over one another for market influence and mining power and hash rate and all these different things that it can compete over. Turns out that's not going to happen now. The whole plan was called off today by several of the members of the development team or the people who were behind this so-called SegWit 2x proposal, and I am ebullient about it. I feel so good that this has happened because it's going to result in a competition between just two Bitcoins, because earlier in August, Bitcoin already had its first historic schism into Bitcoin Cash and sort of the original Bitcoin, or aka Bitcoin Core. So we already had two Bitcoins, and now this SegWit 2x was threatening to give us another one. And then there's this other thing called Bitcoin Gold that sort of forked off, but you say that that's a scam basically by some unscrupulous mining or hardware company, and we've yet to even see if that thing will survive its infancy, so to speak. So right now we basically have two existing Bitcoin competitors that are competing for market share, and I think that's enough because there's a big difference between the two. One of them is this small block Bitcoin, which the people who are behind this particular Bitcoin have said things, some of them have said things publicly saying that they believe in this idea of keeping the blocks small. I believe one of the programmers even said he wanted to see smaller blocks than they currently have, which is insane because it seems insane to me. Idea. Because for the listeners that don't know, the blocks are kind of where the transactions get stored and verified in this thing called the blockchain, which is a public ledger that basically is the guts, a distributed, decentralized public ledger that is the guts of the Bitcoin network. So having larger block sizes, right now it's currently 1 megabyte in the Bitcoin or Bitcoin Core, aka Bitcoin Core. It's 1 megabyte. They were proposing to make it 2 megabytes with this SegWit 2x change, but that is now off the table, which would have essentially doubled the headroom as far as the amount of transactions per second or per minute that could have been on those blocks. So that's off the table, which means that you're going to have Bitcoin, this sort of original beast that is now this unwieldy, very expensive thing that's out there, and it's slow to change. It only adjusts its difficulty every 2,016 blocks, and that tends to be about every 2 weeks. Whereas you've got Bitcoin Cash, which is much more nimble. Its fees are much lower because the Bitcoin Cash network isn't full. They increased their block size from 1 megabyte to 8 megabytes when they split off back in August, and they've been doing fine as far as their fees are concerned. I just sent a Bitcoin Cash transaction for 1.5 cents worth of Bitcoin Cash just a moment ago. So very, very affordable compared to the $3 to $4 to $5 that you're typically looking at for a median-sized transaction within the Bitcoin network. So you've got a much more nimble competitor now in Bitcoin Cash with plenty of room for growth versus this old, slow, decrepit Bitcoin that is now only stuck with 1 megabyte blocks and stuck with this 2016 block difficulty adjustment. What happens there is every 2016 blocks, there's a regular reassessment where the Bitcoin protocol or network or whatever looks at its total difficulty and who's mining or whatever.
And according to the data, there's a difficulty adjustment downward coming up very soon.
When?
There was an article on coin.dance.
That's a great site, by the way.
And they were talking about this. Let me see if I
if you can pull it up.
Talking, and I'll bring that up.
Sure. So when the difficulty adjustment happens, if more miners are in the game, if they're competing to mine Bitcoin, then usually that means the difficulty goes up, meaning that it gets harder to find the things that they're looking to find to uncover the new Bitcoins, doing the cryptographic math or whatever it is that those computers are doing. It gets harder. But if people leave Bitcoin mining, if they say, let's say they want to mine an altcoin instead, one of the competitors, or maybe they want to mine Bitcoin Cash rather than Bitcoin Core, if they leave the Bitcoin Core, then when the difficulty adjustment happens, the difficulty will adjust downward and it'll get easier. And the idea is that if the difficulty gets easier, it'll actually attract more people back in to mining that because it'll be easier to mine the Bitcoin. So we're in a situation now where it's going to be very interesting to watch and see what happens between these different Bitcoin miners. You mentioned coin.dance, Mike. It's a great site that actually does a really interesting job of kind of keeping an eye on the different relationships between the two different competing Bitcoins out there. So there's a coin.dance for Bitcoin, and then there's another one for Bitcoin Cash. So if you go and, for instance, you look at the Bitcoin Cash page, and then you click on blocks, it'll actually show you a comparison. It says here that right now it's 4% more profitable to mine the original chain. So to mine the Bitcoin Core chain, it's 4% more profitable. But basically for the last... it looks like maybe the last several days, 4 or 5 days, both Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Cash have been pretty much at parity. Sometimes Bitcoin Cash will be a little more profitable. Sometimes Bitcoin Core will be a little more profitable. And what's going to happen here in about, 4-ish days, less than 5 days, about 4 days, 16 hours and some change. There's a countdown at coin.dance, or at cash.coin.dance if you want to see it for yourself. There's going to be a hard fork of Bitcoin Cash. Did you know about that?
No.
Yes.
So Bitcoin Cash is scheduled for a hard fork, for an upgrade.
Really?
They're going to be changing the difficulty adjustment mechanism within Bitcoin Cash, because what happened originally when Bitcoin Cash came out back in August was they had this emergency difficulty adjustment thing that they had programmed into it that the original Bitcoin didn't have.
Is this going to be called Bitcoin Cash?
Well, it's not necessarily going to be a contentious fork.
2.0.
So the expectation is that the miners will go along with this with Bitcoin Cash. So it's probably not going to split into two. I suppose it could, but there's not been any announcement of any kind of contentiousness with this particular fork. So what had happened originally was, Bitcoin Cash had split off with this what they call an emergency difficulty adjustment. So we talked about the 2016 block difficulty adjustment that Bitcoin had. Well, Bitcoin Cash had that. But they knew that when they broke away from Bitcoin, that they were going to have a tough time because, again, the difficulty of Bitcoin was very, very high, right? Bitcoin's the most popular cryptocurrency out there in the marketplace. It's been around forever. It's very, very high. People are competing on a tremendous level to mine Bitcoin. So what happened when Bitcoin Cash broke away was they knew they weren't going to have but a fraction of the mining power behind them. But if they had to get to 2016 blocks, that was a long way off. And if their mining power
adjusted the mining.
Right. If their mining power was very low to start, that meant that it was going to take forever to get to that.
There was a lot of talk that Bitcoin Cash was going to get frozen up because of that if they didn't do that.
But that's why they implemented the emergency difficulty adjustment, which looked at a 12-block window and said, well, if the blocks are coming too slow over these 12, I'm oversimplifying this, okay? There's some technical stuff here. But if the blocks were coming too slowly, were being found too slowly over this 12-block sort of window of time, then they would do this emergency difficulty adjustment and they'd drop the difficulty like 20%. So wham, huge difficulty adjustment. And then that makes it a lot easier for people to get in, more profitable. People then jumped in, which of course then the next emergency difficulty adjustment adjusted it upwards. And so they would have these spikes of difficulty adjustments that were hard to deal with. It made it so a lot of the miners were like, oh, we don't want to keep jumping in and jumping out, because it took like a day to switch from one to the next. At least it was for me at the Bitcoin mining pool at pool.bitcoin.com. And so you don't want to just keep jumping back and forth if it takes you a whole day to switch back and forth or whatever. So in that case, this emergency adjustment was causing these unusual fluctuations. So that's what they're looking to fix in the upcoming hard fork that's happening in, again, less than 5 days. When they fix it, the Bitcoin Cash is going to have a difficulty adjustment every single day. And it's going to look at, I think, the last 144 blocks, basically, when it looks at it. But it's going to look at it and adjust every single day. And what's going to happen between that versus the old, slow 2016 blocks of the original Bitcoin Core? More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Don't do what I did and run out. If it's working, don't quit. Why would you stop? Why undo all the good that's been accomplished?
You've got to feed them right for life.
Dynavite is nutrition.
If I ever took Roy off of Dynavite...
No. When I get to about 3/4, when I get down to the bottom of my box of Dynavite, oh no, I've got a couple more scoops. It's time to place my order. Dynavite.com. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try. Dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like Free Talk Live. Yeah, I guess that's true. With you here tonight, it's Ian,
Mike,
and Mark.
Blink Home Security. You want to talk about easy installation? I think this is about as easy as it could possibly be. You don't have to do any kind of wiring. You don't have to set up a DVR system. It's just all step by step. You just grab your tablet or smartphone, hook it up to your Wi-Fi, connect to the Wi-Fi of this Blink Home Security system. It is so easy to install. Even Mark was able to do it in a matter of minutes.
Wow.
True. You can get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge for one by going to blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL. And of course, it's customizable. You can have it. You can set the amount of time you want it to clip the video when it goes off. It's motion detecting, so when it detects motion, you decide you want a 5-second clip, a 30-second clip, whatever amount you want. It gets delivered right to your phone, no matter where you are, so you always know what's going on where you have these Blink cams. It works well. Go to blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. Just before we started the show tonight, I put the finishing touches on a blog post over at freekeen.com where I've been following these situations with Bitcoin and the changes that are afoot or were afoot about it, to kind of try to explain it in as easy to understand a manner as possible. And we've covered a lot of that information so far here tonight on Free Talk Live. But if you want a story that you can share with people who may not know everything about Bitcoin, I try to keep this as understandable as possible. So again, go check that out. It's over at freekeen.com. You can also find it on my Steemit profile as well over at steemit.com. But there's a link that I thought we should explore here, because one of the questions is that I ask on the blog post, and one of the pictures on the blog post is this Bitcoin civil war. Is the Bitcoin geek war finally over, or is it just getting started? Was SegWit 2X just one of the battles, the salvos in this geek war?
I thought SegWit 2X was the end of the World War Geek. And so
naive.
Yeah, well, apparently I was quite naive. But at this point, I want to know what they have to fight over.
Well, I think that
the claim to the throne.
Right. We're seeing these forks in Bitcoin because people are realizing that altcoins that may be essentially derivations of Bitcoin never really took off and gained market cap because they started from zero in terms of adoption.
Right. Sure.
And so they're people that want instant market cap are going to be drawn towards doing forks in order to gain that market cap.
Not if they, and you would think so, but that's why I'm hoping Bitcoin Gold fails, because if Bitcoin Gold, which is this sort of minority fork thing that happens, so there was the first fork of Bitcoin Cash, which happened back in August, on August 1st. Then about 2 weeks ago, there was this Bitcoin Gold fork that has not really materialized into anything at all, because there's this testnet thing, and they haven't even released this thing publicly, and it's just a real mess. It seems like. So what? And you talked in a little more detail about this earlier. They don't have the mining power that they need to really get this thing off the ground, or that's the way it looks at this point. They're not even done with the software yet to release it publicly to let people try to mine it.
It's a little early to be declaring a fork when you don't even have the software to mine it.
Right. Well, they supposedly have forked it, but they're doing it all on this test net at this point, where they all get to do pre-mining and try to mine these Bitcoin Gold things.
That sounds like a ruble coin.
It sounds like a scam. But that's what I'm saying. I hope this fails, because it will send the message out that, hey, you can try this, but it may not necessarily give you the free money giveaway that you were hoping that it would. And if Bitcoin Gold bombs, then that makes it less likely that the supposedly rumored Bitcoin Silver, which, as far as I can tell, is basically just a post on an internet forum. I don't know if there's any serious push behind that either. But there was somebody saying, we're going to do Bitcoin Silver in December. Okay, well,
dude, we already have Litecoin.
Right. Right. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm happy about SegWit 2X going away, because now we don't have 5 or 3 or 4 different Bitcoins. We only have Bitcoin, a.k.a. Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Cash.
I'm a
and let them
Baskin
fight it
Robbins
out.
guy. I still want my 57 flavors.
You want
there, Ian.
57 different Bitcoins?
Yep.
I don't. I'm sorry. I have to communicate about Bitcoin, and I don't like having to communicate about two of them. I wish they could have just fixed the original Bitcoin, but they couldn't, or they didn't. They couldn't come to an agreement, or they did come to an agreement, but then people reneged on the agreement, and here we are. And I say good, because now we only have two Bitcoins. One of them is fast and cheap, and the other is slow and expensive. And we just did a test here in the studio not too long ago where I pulled up the Bitcoin that I have in the Trezor, and I tried to send it from SegWit address or send from a legacy address, and they're both still very expensive. The SegWit was like $3-something for the transaction. The legacy was like $4 and something cents. If you go to bitcoinfees.20, they changed this. It used to be .21.co. It's now bitcoinfees.earn.com, EARN, earn. So bitcoinfees.earn.com. If you ever want to see at any moment a snapshot of what the fee situation is like at that moment, this is the best site to do it, because what it shows you is, as you scroll down the page, you can see the relative amounts of transactions that are using the different levels of fees. So you can see there's a huge wall of fees at the smallest level of potential fees that you could send, like 1 to 10 satoshis per byte is how it's measured. You claim that that's the spam.
Yes,
I don't know
do.
if that's actually true. But it is definitely taking up the majority of the network. Then as you scroll down, you can see as you get up higher and higher and higher, there's generally fewer transactions. But the people who are really serious about getting their transactions through, they're spending $300 right now. The fastest and cheapest transaction, so the median level of transaction for Bitcoin right now is 320 satoshis per byte. Now, to translate that comes out to on a median transaction 72,320 satoshis, which right now is over $5 per Bitcoin transaction. That's what it costs to send your typical kind of Bitcoin transaction today. That's insane.
Well, the thing to keep in mind is that over time, that's going to become normal as the block reward of newly minted Bitcoins falls off over time. And you're going to see these sort of transaction fees rise, particularly as we get closer to the 21 million total cap on the total issue of Bitcoins.
Well, I mean, there's different reasons why the fees have gone up, but the main reason is because Bitcoin's full. The network can't handle any more transactions, and that's what caused all this controversy in the first place.
I'm at bitcoinwisdom.com/Bitcoin/difficulty. There's a nice chart here that kind of illustrates what's going on. Is that in the last week of October, the difficulty for Bitcoin reached an all-time high.
Really?
Yeah, and immediately after that, the hashing power dedicated to Bitcoin plummeted from a little over 8.5 million terahashes per second to now where it's down to around 6.8 million terahashes per second.
Now I'm interested to find out where that power went to. Did it go to altcoins? Did it go to Bitcoin Cash? There's no way to really find that out, is there?
No, but we're overdue for a difficulty adjustment, and that's going to be a big difficulty adjustment downwards. And as soon as that happens, I would estimate that a lot of those transaction fees will go away.
All right, well, we'll see about that. I don't know if I have the same level of optimism as you do for the original Bitcoin. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. But I think we're better off today, even though I don't want to have two Bitcoins. I think we're better off with two because of some level of competition between those two. There's more coming up here in moments. You can take control of the airwaves on Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hello, Mr. Anderson. The NSA has noticed how much time you spend on conservative news sites. We have no choice but to consider you a domestic terrorist.
Tired of your internet activity being monitored by Big Brother? Get VirtualShield.com, the world's easiest to use virtual private network. Browse the web anonymously, leaving pesky advertisers and spies in the dust. Get started today at VirtualShield.com. Take advantage of our free 30-day trial. VirtualShield.com. You have the right to remain private.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us right here. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and our Skype username is lrn.fm. With you here in the studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Mike,
and Mark.
And, of course, you can join us online. Head over to freetalklive.com. We do have a Facebook page for those of you who care about that sort of thing. You can go to facebook.freetalklive.com. That'll take you right to our Facebook page. And you can click the like button. You can hit the get notifications. I think if you hover over like, at least that's the way it used to be, you can hover over that and get notifications, and then you might be more likely to see our posts because, of course, Facebook's goal is to bury your posts unless you pay them. So, if you're still using the Facebook platform, you can like our page on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter as well and get, some of the show prep that we use or just fun memes that sometimes we're posting to those accounts. So be sure you check that out if you're into the social media. And we're talking about Bitcoin. and the new Bitcoin Cash that came out back in August, which is now going to be vying for the throne. This was the other question of, well, you said, well, what's the Civil War going to be about at this point now that the SegWit 2X plan is off the table? And it's going to be about who's the true Bitcoin. Who is the king of the hill? Right now, Bitcoin Core, the sort of original Bitcoin, if you will, is up there. It's on the top. It dominates with over $120 billion in market cap right now globally, compared to about $10 billion for Bitcoin Cash. So it's the number 1 and number 3 currencies, respectively. Bitcoin Cash certainly has a way to go if they want to beat Bitcoin in its, just its price aspect. But they definitely have some interesting innovations going on there. And there's a strong argument, as the folks over at Bitcoin.com have made within the last about a month. Actually, this printed on October 16th, but we never shared it here. It's about Bitcoin. They claim Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin. Introduced as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, Bitcoin experienced explosive exponential growth during its initial years. Users were drawn by properties of Bitcoin that allowed for cheap money transfers, instant confirmations, worldwide compatibility, round-the-clock operation, and no limitations on minimum or maximum transaction amounts. Now, I don't know if instant confirmation is an accurate statement. I would say that 10 minutes was the typical time for confirmations with Bitcoin back in the day. You would instantly know if the payment was made generally, and there's no way to reverse it. So, I mean, you could look at that as, hey, someone made a payment, but the confirmations are the things that, where Bitcoin's network confirms over and over again that, yes, this was a legitimate transaction. There was no double spend here or whatever. So I would say that's a bit of an exaggeration to say that they were instant, but they certainly were fast. Worldwide compatibility, round-the-clock operation, and no limitations on minimum or maximum transaction amounts. This electronic form of money quickly became popular with diverse groups of users all around the world. Merchants used Bitcoin to tap into a global marketplace. Migrant workers used it to send money back home for much less than Western Union. Charities and content creators used it as a virtual tip jar, collecting donations big and small from any country on Earth. Certain industries were even able to use Bitcoin to replace traditional payment methods altogether. The rapid rate of expansion continued for several years and led many to think that Bitcoin was well on its way to becoming an unstoppable revolution in financial technology. But, as is the case with all technologies, scalability inevitably became an issue. Since the very beginning of Bitcoin, people have contemplated and argued about how the system should scale, not just to millions of users, but to billions. How else could Bitcoin become accepted as a mainstream global currency? In fact, when Satoshi Nakamoto, its anonymous creator, first introduced the concept of Bitcoin in 2008, the first question asked of him was how Bitcoin could scale. He replied, quote, "The bandwidth might not be as prohibitive as you think. A typical transaction would be about 400 bytes. Each transaction has to be broadcast twice, so let's say 1 kilobyte per transaction. Visa processed 37 billion transactions in fiscal year 2008. Remember, this was when this stuff was written. Bitcoin's been around since 2009. Or an average of 100 million transactions per day. Again, that's Visa. That many transactions would take 100 gigabytes of bandwidth, or the size of 12 DVDs, or about $18 worth of bandwidth at current prices. This was, again, in 2008. If the network were to get that big, it would take several years, and by then, sending 2 movies over the internet, or HD, he said movies, you'd only need 2 of them, would probably seem like not a big deal, unquote. What started as an afterthought eventually turned into a hallmark debate among developers before devolving into an all-out schism in the Bitcoin community. Eventually, a small group of programmers calling themselves Bitcoin Core wrested control of the legacy development branch of Bitcoin and began to insist, counterintuitively, that Bitcoin was incapable of scaling to more than 250,000 transactions per day. And we actually heard this when we were at the Texas Bitcoin conference. There was a guy who we interviewed who was like a Bitcoin collector. He collected physical Bitcoins, and he insisted that Bitcoin just simply couldn't do this. It could not scale up.
Well, his reasoning sounded sound to me when I thought about the size of the just the amount of hard drive space you need in order to run.
Hard drive space is plentiful.
Not on the machine I got running.
Well, get a new
node.
machine, dude.
Right, well, that's the thing. Is that
you can go buy a terabyte hard drive today for probably less than $60.
Yep.
And right now, the blockchain's only 150 gigabytes.
Right.
So you'd only take up a tenth of that hard drive, or 15% of the hard drive, with the current block size. So that just doesn't hold water, Mark. Anyway, going on here, so more than they say that it can't scale to more than 250,000 transactions per day, or about 4.5 cents worth of bandwidth at 2008 prices. As the network finally hit this imposed capacity limit in 2016, Bitcoin began to lose many of the features that made it so attractive in the first place. Like I was talking about earlier with the microtransactions. That's an impossibility now due to the Bitcoin fees. The fees have skyrocketed, says the story here at Bitcoin.com, from fractions of a penny to a peak of nearly $9 in August. Well, guess what? It's back to that level today. Anyway, going on, transaction confirmation times became increasingly unreliable, and users could find themselves waiting hours or days for their payments to clear. We talked about that tonight. Mark, I'm still waiting on the payment as of the beginning of the show. I haven't checked during the show, but it's been several hours throughout the entire day today. I think you sent it at like 11 this morning, and it still hadn't come through several hours later. So the delays are tremendous. This decline in usability caused many early retail adopters to abandon Bitcoin, either switching to competing digital currencies or returning to traditional payments entirely. New adoption slowed to a crawl, and in 2017, the number of transactions on the network began to decline for the first time in Bitcoin's 9-year history. The group calling themselves Bitcoin Core began to insist that Bitcoin was never meant to be money after all, and was nothing other than a new speculative asset class. They also began to remove many of the defining features of Bitcoin, making transactions reversible, which to me is a shocking thing that they have done here. If this is being honest with what it's saying, and I don't know enough about this replace by fee feature, but that's what this is supposedly. If some people are saying this is a feature, to where my understanding of this is, if I send Mark, let's say you sent that Bitcoin transaction today. Let's say you sent it using the normal Bitcoin Core wallet, which you didn't, but let's say you did. If the transaction was stuck, if it hadn't gotten a confirmation, and it has not yet, in theory, as I understand it, this replace by fee feature that they added to Bitcoin would allow for Mark, you to then say, oh, you know what?
Never mind.
I'd like to actually send that to Mike instead, or send it to you as your own in your own wallet. Send it to one of your own wallets. I'd rather you not get that, Ian. Actually, even after I've sent it, even after you've already given me the product. Let's say you were buying something from me, and I gave you a car,
car off the lot,
or something like that. And so then I'll just go ahead and resend this, replace that fee on the network, and send it to somewhere else. That's my understanding of what you can do with this. Now, I don't know if that's accurate. Have you heard?
I have not heard of this, actually, and mainly because I haven't been keeping up on that. But this is something where it's interesting that Bitcoin is supposed to be something where it's not double spendable, but this is something where you could theoretically promise it to multiple people and just keep redirecting it.
In theory. Or at least do it once. I don't know how many times you could possibly do it. I mean, it's until it confirms, until it gets that first confirmation.
That should get people to really question the motives of people on the core team.
Absolutely. So while most people would be honest and they'd let their transactions go through, this allows a dishonest person to take advantage of somebody. If I'm misunderstanding this, please correct me. It's Free Talk Live.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are two Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
Happy the rescue dog. He was missing hair, stinky, scabby, but I have a vet that I trust, and she recommended Dinovite.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dinovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Google has all but banned the movie series What Would Muhammad Do? It's a brilliant film on the true history and goals of Islam. This is the film Trump's enemies and holdouts from the Obama administration are terrified you will see. Pro-Islamic groups working with Google and other multi-billion-dollar corporations have vowed to suppress the distribution of What Would Muhammad Do? When you see it, you'll understand why. Get your copy while you still can. Order the 4-DVD collection today for $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Or go online and download the entire movie series for just $19.95. But wait, for those who order in the next 30 minutes, we'll throw in a 9-part series on the Muslim Brotherhood absolutely free. Go to wwmdfilm.com or call 304-289-3700 now. That's wwmdfilm.com or call 304-289-3700 now.
Now that multiple Thomas E. Dewey High School sources have confirmed that junior Jessica Milley will soon begin putting out, with many speculating that she'll go all the way with her boyfriend Josh Gibson as early as this Friday, Milley's classmates have been quick to weigh in on the news.
Jessica was sitting at this table when she told Erica that she was finally going to do Josh.
Jessica's pretty hot, so I'm happy with her decision.
I was pretty certain the next girl to start putting out would be Amy Courtley because everybody knows her mom's a slut.
While the majority of students were somewhat surprised that Jessica might give it up at Andy Wheeler's house party this Friday, possibly on one of Wheeler's 2 basement couches, Milley's intentions didn't come as a shock to some. Now that the news is settling in, several Dewey High sources are suggesting that Milley's decision could cause a domino effect in which even more classmates begin putting out in the near future.
I think I'm going to start putting out in January or February, definitely by prom.
Keep checking theonion.com for more news as this story progresses.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free to bring up whatever you want. Moments remain here. We're talking about Bitcoin. What is the true Bitcoin? Is there a true Bitcoin now? Or have they all just been changed so much? The 2 different ones that are competing, are they so different now from the original vision of Bitcoin? And is that necessarily a bad thing? So we can talk about all that here with you in the studio tonight. It's Ian.
Mike.
And Mark.
Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The folks over at Bitcoin.com have made a strong claim that the Bitcoin Cash, which was the first schism, the first fork of Bitcoin that happened, a contentious fork where there were 2 Bitcoins that were competing after this fork happened on August 1st. One of them called Bitcoin Cash, the other one called Bitcoin, aka Bitcoin Core, which is the name that they call themselves. That fork happened, and the argument here is that Bitcoin Cash is actually more true to the original vision of Satoshi Nakamoto, more Bitcoin than Bitcoin is basically.
So we have Bitcoin fundamentalists.
Right.
Basically.
Chasing you around with the white paper.
Basically. And so they're making a strong argument here saying that one of the things that the Bitcoin Core, aka Bitcoin, has now is this replace by fee feature, which, as you pointed out during the break, is supposed to be, if used honestly, designed to, oh, you sent a transaction with too low of a fee by accident? Well, now you can increase that fee and use this replace by fee feature to make it so your transaction goes through sooner with a larger fee. But unfortunately, it can also be used to abuse the system and actually send a transaction to a completely different location. At least that's as I understand it.
I'm wondering how much of the spam might be people who are using a bot to do replace by fee a whole lot just to jam up the network.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's disturbing to me because one of the original features of Bitcoin was its immutability. The fact that as soon as you hit send, if you screwed it up, if you put in the wrong address to which to send, sorry, you ain't getting it back. Unless you happen to control that other wrong address, which is highly unlikely. So you ain't getting it back. It's irreversible. And there's a real benefit to that because it means people who are unscrupulous can't take advantage of a system. They can't do chargebacks.
Right. Take a look at PayPal.
For instance.
I mean, it's a wasteland at this point. People don't want to do business through PayPal because the customer's always right as far as PayPal's concerned, and people are losing product all the time through PayPal.
So they claim that that's one of the things that's going on with Bitcoin, but it's not happening with Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash doesn't have replace by fee. Bitcoin Cash, in that way, is more like the original Bitcoin once was. They also then talk about SegWit, which they claim SegWit strips digital signature data that mathematically guarantees one's Bitcoins are safe. Now, I don't know if that's true because a lot of people have come out in favor of segregated witness. I don't know. I'm not an engineer, so I can't really assess all of these claims. I just had to make a decision as to where to send the church Bitcoin that I administer because I needed to move it into a different wallet, and so now was my chance. Do I move it into a SegWit wallet? Or do I move it into a legacy wallet? And I decided, well, Eric Voorhees over at Shapeshift, he's on board with SegWit. We trust a lot of the things. He's a trustworthy guy. So I figured, all right, I'll go with the SegWit thing. So now I've moved everything into the SegWit. So if it's really a danger, I don't know. Some people say it's great. Some people say, it's not so great.
Well, the segregated witness is based on the idea that you really don't need everybody in the world authenticating your pizza purchase. Okay? And since the whole algorithm of Bitcoin is basically a solution to what's called the Byzantine generals problem, which in terms of having how do you reach consensus when you have a group of people who don't trust each other. You don't need a bazillion people who don't trust each other to make that decision. You can make a trustworthy decision among people you don't trust with as small a group as 3 or 4 people, so long as you don't have more than one person that's making a traitorous decision on it. And so with a segregated witness, you have a lesser number of nodes who can participate in authenticating that transaction, and that would allow more transactions to happen on the network while still maintaining the Byzantine generals solution of Bitcoin without the amount of congestion.
So suffice it to say there's some controversy over segregated witness. Is it doing what it's promised that it would do? Is it as effective as people said that it was going to be? Is it a danger? I don't know the answers to any of those questions, but it's definitely not what the original Bitcoin had. Now, whether that makes it better or worse, is up to you to decide. But going on, having achieved much of their Contra white paper goals, this group, they're talking about Bitcoin Core here, is no longer capable, they say at Bitcoin.com, of representing fundamental Bitcoin ideals, nor are they able to advance any of the original payments-related value propositions. To be sure, those within this group are devoting, hardworking, and talented, but given the above facts of the matter, it's impossible for such a group to rightfully use the word Bitcoin in their name. They claim here SegWit Core seems much more appropriate. Now, I disagree with the name calling. I think that Bitcoin Core should be able to call themselves Bitcoin. They're the original chain, basically. And then Bitcoin Cash also should be able to call itself Bitcoin because it forked from the original chain. Let's let the market decide which the real Bitcoin is. But then they say here, enter Bitcoin Cash. These drastic changes being made to a proven and successful technology led a concerned group of longtime Bitcoin users to initiate a fork or split of the network on August 1st of this year. From this fork, Bitcoin Cash was born, increasing the capacity limit of each block, removing the replace by fee, and preserving a version of Bitcoin with digital signatures intact. Bitcoin Cash, being distinct from the SegWit chain, descendant of Bitcoin, has its own market price, mining network, and unique transaction history from the common ancestor block onwards. Because the Bitcoin Cash fork was created by a minority group of miners, many services still regard the SegWit chain as Bitcoin, although the two can be more accurately thought of as relatives, sharing a common ancestor. Although the SegWit chain inherited the name Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Cash chain much more closely resembles the version of Bitcoin which sparked the entire digital currency boom by being an exemplary electronic payment system. Now, just because it looks more like Bitcoin originally doesn't mean the market's going to care, right? So like right now, the Bitcoin Cash market price is about 8% of what a Bitcoin, a full-on single Bitcoin is. So it's like $600-something bucks right now for a Bitcoin Cash and over $7,000 for a Bitcoin. So, is that one indicator that the market's saying they don't really care about Bitcoin Cash, or that the market doesn't really even know that Bitcoin Cash exists? So Bitcoin Cash has a lot of growing to do.
I'd say mostly that.
Yeah, if it wants to have an impact in the marketplace. And hopefully we're going to see some of that over the next year, especially now that there's not going to be this continuing fight between the SegWit 2X thing that got canceled today, that fork, and the SegWit 1X, or the Bitcoin Core. Despite the insistence of the SegWit core group that such forks were dangerous and would completely undermine the entire Bitcoin system, the successful hard fork of Bitcoin Cash instead seems to have proven that network splits can be a viable way to resolve differences, experiment with new features, and allow various models to compete with one another in the free market. Then the article goes on to talk about some of the forks that are planned, because at this time they thought SegWit 2X was going to be a thing, and turns out it's not, which was supposed to be this big fork that happened next week, and now that's off. So their conclusion. They say Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's intentional lack of central authority or governing body means that any serious discussion on the fundamental nature of what is Bitcoin, or what Bitcoin is, must be based in rational arguments and data, rather than because we say so rhetoric. Based on the comparisons here between the various versions of Bitcoin, the white paper, and the years of common understanding that Bitcoin was always meant to be an electronic cash system, which is now broken for, because you can't use Bitcoin as electronic cash on small purchases anymore.
Well, I mean, it's not broken for large purchases, right?
Yeah, I mean, even large purchases up to, let's say, $100, $200, $300, it's broken. Big $1,000s purchases, yeah, you can probably still use Bitcoin for that, but that's not useful in the marketplace.
You can buy condos in a nice tower in Dubai.
Yeah, that's not useful to the average person. So it's the position of Bitcoin.com that Bitcoin Cash is the version of Bitcoin that most closely adheres to the original design. The position that Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin is based on its adherence to the design goals and intended purpose that Bitcoin was created to fulfill. And so then they go on here to say that recently the chief scientists of Bitcoin Unlimited announced they had a gigablock testnet which successfully mined and propagated the first ever 1 gigabyte block, which is, of course, many times what the current block size is.
That's big.
And they say this demonstrates that the Bitcoin network can scale to compete directly with the mainstream payment processors. So they say they believe that Bitcoin Cash is the only fork of Bitcoin that resembles a natural continuation of the original Bitcoin invention. All of the segregated witness chains have altered so many fundamental properties of Bitcoin that it seems a stretch to refer to them by the Bitcoin name. So if you want to learn more about the canceled SegWit 2X fork, check out the FreeKeen blog that I posted over at freekeen.com tonight. And in the meantime, between now and tomorrow, we'll see you online over at freetalklive.com. Don't forget forum.freetalklive.com to discuss with other listeners and hosts.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, November 8th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.03 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,347. Antiwar.com reports Saudi warplanes targeted a residential area in Yemen's Hajj province on Tuesday, leveling a large building that served as housing for an extended family, killing all within. At least 30 people were killed in the attacks, overwhelmingly women and children. The attacks took place against a village not far from the Saudi border and left a number of other civilians wounded. It is not clear why the attacks were carried out in the first place, and Saudi officials have not commented on the matter. Saudi airstrikes have been killing dozens of civilians on a regular basis since early 2015, leading to a massive death toll. This has fueled international criticism of Saudi war crimes and both the U.S. and British governments for selling the Saudis such arms that they've used so recklessly. U.S. efforts to compel an end to its involvement in the war have failed for now, but there is a growing campaign in Britain to stop the weapons sales. Historically, Saudi officials have bought a lot of influence in both the U.S. and Britain, ironically with arms sales, but the war crimes are costing them a lot of credibility. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Danica Rome won Virginia's 13th District House of Delegates seat on Tuesday night, becoming the first openly transgender official to be elected in the United States. Rome, a Democrat, defeated Republican incumbent Bob Marshall, who proposed a bill restricting which bathrooms transgender individuals can use and attempted to block Virginia from adding sex and gender discrimination to anti-discrimination laws. Rome discussed her gender identity when asked throughout the campaign and responded to flyers released by Marshall's campaign that referred to her using male pronouns. She said when Delegate Marshall realized that he cannot win on public policy issues on traffic, on jobs, schools, and healthcare, he resorted to trash. She ran on a platform focused on local issues and criticized Marshall for ignoring such issues in favor of advancing a conservative agenda. Marshall refused to debate Rome and often declined interviews with media. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Reuters reports a peace activist who laughed at then U.S. Senator Jeff Sessions during his confirmation hearings to become U.S. Attorney General will no longer be prosecuted on charges of disrupting a session of Congress and demonstrating at the Capitol. The U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia filed court papers on Monday notifying a judge her office was dropping its case against Desiree Ferruz, a children's librarian. Ferruz had faced up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine if she were convicted on both charges at trial. She belongs to Code Pink, an anti-war group that often stages protest against politicians. The group accused federal prosecutors of overreach and wasting money on the case. Ferruz laughed during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing in January after one lawmaker asserted Sessions treated all Americans equally. It was at the confirmation hearing for Sessions, who was then a Republican senator from Alabama and was later confirmed to become U.S. Attorney General. Ferruz shouted, "This man is evil, pure evil," as police led her away. A jury found her guilty in May of disrupting a session of Congress and demonstrating on Capitol grounds. But a judge for the District of Columbia Superior Court overturned the guilty verdict in July and ordered a new trial. Chief Judge Robert Moran found it unclear whether Ferruz was convicted for laughter or for speaking out as she was removed. A second trial had been scheduled for November 13th, but the judge canceled it after prosecutors had dropped the case. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Turning to health news, doctors at Johns Hopkins Medical School have discovered that bones are the coolest part of the body. The 10-year study found that although the body has many cool things in it, nothing is cooler than your skeleton.
Just think about it. You have this soft, fleshy body, but inside of it, there's a second, tinier body that's made out of a super hard rock. Our data is conclusive. Bones are very, very cool.
To conduct the study, researchers examined every single body part and determined how cool or uncool it was.
We initially thought the brain might be the coolest part because it's like a computer that runs on food. But when we looked at it up close, it was all gross and wrinkled. Brains are not cool. Bones are cool.
Doctors discovered that there are big, strong bones like baseball bats in your arms and legs, hand bones that look like a monster claw, and skull bones that make a scary face. Doctors did caution that as cool as human bones are, they're not nearly as cool as dinosaur bones.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Yeah, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear. Here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona. From the BEA beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S. Phoenix, yeah, not one of the better ones. Okay, what we're going to do is talk to Adam Kokesh today. We'll get to him in just a second. Donna, I didn't bring my glasses. Are you going to please? And, oh, yeah, that's another thing. I found a bunch of really, cheap, nice Foster Grant type on China, ordering kind of 9 different pairs laying around in their cases, and then they're gone. Adam Kokesh been traveling around the country, making sure that everybody understand he's running for not president. And I'm very interested in how this is going. He's going to end it here in a couple of weeks, I think like 19th or something, here in Arizona. Come to the farm here, and we're going to have a party. Well, he's going to tell us all about his national tour. Taxation is theft. Hashtag taxation is theft national tour. 68 events from August 1st to November 18th. Yeah, 18th. I'm like, okay. Well, I'm very interested in how this is going. We've been talking, I had a conversation with Stephen Kinsella last Friday, and yep, there's a multi-prong attack against all things voluntarist kind of deal. Rothbard be bad, Mises bad, Ron Paul bad, Lou Rockwell bad, Jeff Dye bad, Tom Woods, Bob Murphy. Why? Because they're not. I don't know. There's this leaning left libertarian thing going to the National Convention in New Orleans. I'm going, well, Adam's going to be there? And he's going to bring in the peoples, and he's going to do something. Well, all right, some activism be afoot. Well, let's go ahead and find out every little thing about it. Adam, tell me about your trip, man.
Thanks for having me on, Ernie. I really appreciate it, and especially the fact that we are ending up at your place on the 18th. That's the Saturday. And volunteer meeting the night before if anybody wants to help out. But yeah, party at Ernie's, Saturday the 18th, doors at 6. We start the show at 7, and that's been our standard formula for all of the events on this tour, and it's been a blast. It's been amazing. I love getting to talk to regular Americans. I love stepping out of the libertarian bubbles, but also seeing our bubble exists all over the country and in every city we've had enthusiastic support.
Adam, pull away from the microphone. It's way over modulating, or you're on speaker thing or something.
Well, I'm using a headset with a really good microphone.
Yeah, well, I say it really sucks microphone.
Am I just like, am I choking on it? Is that the problem?
Yeah.
Is that better?
It's really like this. It tells you it's over modulated. It's just too close.
Is this better now?
A lot better. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we've been recruiting people who want to get involved with the libertarian takeover of the Libertarian Party at the 2018 National Convention. And this platform is the peaceful, orderly dissolution of the entire United States federal government. So what we want to do in 2018 at the National Convention is introduce a plank in the platform about localization.
Okay, right now, before you get into the plank, I'm really interested. Pull the mic up further away because I want to be able to understand what you're saying.
I'm just going to have to kill this microphone and go back to this one. Is this all right?
Oh, thank you.
All right. So, in 2018 at the National Convention, we want to introduce, or we will be introducing, a plank for the platform. And basically right now it says something to be effective. We support the elimination and reduction of government wherever possible. We just want to add the word localization. It says we support the localization of government wherever possible. And this is a really important
please. I'm so interested in this. I just want you to, so we can, it's really over my, pull the phone away from your mouth more.
Could it be the line at this point? This is
that's better. See, I can pull the volume up here, just over my. It really muffles it, so I can hardly, like that. So I just pull it. There you go. See, I can pull the volume up here if I want to.
Well, it's just when I'm speaking quietly. I didn't pull it away. I can't pull it away anymore. I won't be able to hear.
Okay, no, that's cool. Yeah, it's just okay. Now you want to introduce a plank in the platform about localization to something. Go.
Yes, we support the reduction, elimination, and localization of government wherever possible. And this creates a whole other strategic approach for the Libertarian Party that takes us from being a debate club to being a political force, because we've been a debate club for way too long. If we want to be a political force, we have to start putting forth practical policy that immediately improves everyone's lives. And if you want to argue about how do we get everybody fit into this one-size-fits-all solution, you're going to have the kind of national division that we have today. But if instead we push government down to the community level, everybody gets what they want. So we call this the everybody gets what they want strategy. And that's how we not only unite all the various factions within the freedom movement, but we can also unite all Americans, left, right, and center, against the common enemy that is big centralized government.
Yeah, see, you're assuming that those behind pushing the current Libertarian Party and everything, want to fix anything. I mean, it's...
No, I don't. I just assume that we can out-organize them.
Thank you. This is... I've been fighting this battle for 30 years, and I'm telling you, there are forces at play that You can buy the entire Libertarian Party cheap. $10,000 at the right time, you got a state, and $100,000 at the right time, you got a nation. And ballot stat and all the stuff that goes with it, and you pinky swear and promise. And this presidential election cycle is going to be different, you know? And I'm so sick of it, and none of it includes anything that you're talking about. Because my whole thing has been, look, if you are a liberty nexus, if you provide resources for individual activists, if you let people, them in the confines of the non-aggression principle and thou shalt not be a scumbag, you know, then I'm hip. You know, let's go kick ass. But it has been the entire effort of National from my very first beginnings of experience with National. They want to collectivize the libertarian movement and put an L after it, and then all of a sudden a collective with the L libertarian after it all of a sudden is like a good collective or something. And I'm going, man, they're missing. No, they're not missing it. They sold out. There is something else. There are forces afoot. Have you come across this? Do you know what I'm talking about? I mean, is this the experience? Have you seen its opposition to that? How's it manifested? Because you're up against something. Do you see it?
Well, I think what you're getting at, Ernie, is that there are actually several forces behind the scenes at work here. And the ones that you mentioned there, I don't know if I'm feeling that exactly yet. What we know is that there are people within the Libertarian Party who are not libertarians. We know that we have Bill Weld getting ready for 2020 right now. And this is like,
you know, when I say that, everybody thinks I'm crazy. You know, do you think Bill Weld is, going to be on the horizon?
Well, we know that at least behind the scenes right now, and I don't know if I'm like spilling some secret of his right now because this is the first time I've mentioned it publicly except at events, is that he is getting ready behind the scenes organizing for the LP nomination for 2020, and there's nothing that gets our base more excited than defending this platform from another washed-up Republican.
Yeah, I'm okay. See, there's some behind the scenes. The evidence of him getting right, I just feel it, and everybody goes, "No, that wouldn't happen. He's done. He would now." I'm going, well, I don't know where you guys been. We'll talk about it with Brett.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories. While I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game